guys, and welcome back. This is ChosenArchitect. Today we're jumping back into some more mechanical mastery. I hope you guys are ready. Now, last episode we got into the power mod, and as you can see, I've taken our single setup from last episode and I have now increased that, and we now have everything hooked together. So the way this is working is I have importers on the bottom and then of course the crafters on the top. So anytime I want to craft any of these materials, I can do so. Now, of course, nitro is not going to be happening right now, nor is some of the other ones. But the thing that I really wanted from this setup is the wireless power to make things look a lot nicer. And to explain that is kind of complicated. So ender cells are separate from energy cells. And I want to just make that clear, but you are going to need both in order to get a network started. And all of this is going to lead to these ender gates. So the ender cell, think of it as the main storage hub and the main channel storage for all of your power. Now, by default, it's not going to do anything. So if you go to place it down, it's not going to be charging like this one is. This is me I've already put an energy cell into it. So it's going to say 0, 0 at the top. But you are going to have 5 channels, and the channels increase depending on the tier. Currently, we're on blazing. And that the tier also increases the output, which right here, it can output up to 40,000 FE per tick. Now, the internal storage can be increased tremendously due to these ender cells. So the way the ender cell works is whenever you open the inventory, the first thing you want to do is have an ender cell ready, and you shift right click, and it goes into the buffer. So all the other channels are going to look like this. You can see right here, empty. It's going to look like this when you start it up until you shift right click that into the channel. And so you can have multiple channels hooked to the same color or the same tier of ender cell. And so you can have multiple different power networks if that's something you wanted. Right now, we're going to stick with 1, and you can see it went from 40, now it's 80 million FE that this thing can store, which is awesome because I want to use this for these ender gates. Now, the ender gates are kind of cool. So while this is charging here, which I'm not going to leave it here, but just for an example, it's setting there, right? And we have these blazing ender gates right here. What I can do is, you see this isn't completely filled. I can just put this on there, and now it's filling with power because this is hooked to that same channel 1 network. And you also have some finite control over here with redstone and everything of the way this power can be handled. So honestly, really cool. And notice it's tiny. It's super small. So we're able to take this and remove all of these cables, right, that are on the face of this thing. And instead of having these giant cables sticking out, we can just put one of these on here. And look how discreet that is. It's so much better. Now, here's where things can get a little complicated, right? Because I want this to now be my storage buffer. And pretty much how I am storing all of my stuff, right? And all my power that's being routed down here. At the moment, I have a plug that is receiving power from this network. The way I want this set up is to have 2 separate networks. And I want one network that is going to be receiving the power, such as this, which I'm actually going to change the network. We're going to need to create another network, right? And we want this network to be called input. And so this is going to be the input network where the power is going to be input. And so I can go ahead and say, hey, we'll switch this to input for right now. That means I need a plug or a point. And I need that point. If I have enough materials here, let's go ahead and autocraft that. And then autocraft that. All of these different materials. So I will have a point here that is going to be on the same network. There's going to be feeding power to this. And this is going to cause this to become a power storage network. So I will set this to input. It's going to shut all of my power off for right now. But there you go. You see that is now filling up. And however, it is going to have a maximum of 40,000 is going to be its limit that it can input. And it looks like we're hitting that cap, surprisingly. I don't think we're generating more than 40,000. This must be coming out of some sort of buffer, which I think is the pipes. Yeah, it's the pipes. So all we got to do now is set this up, and we'll say this is going to be on main, and this is going to be the plug. And so this now gets everything else back on track and powered. But we need to get ender gates on everything and sort of change over how this this piping is situated underneath. Now, you can't tell me that that doesn't look much cleaner. So I know I have all of these cables on the back, but I can move them and put them on the, or I have them on the front. You can put them on the back if I really wanted to. But to make everything sort of fit in here, I have everything that needs power, receiving that power. And it did allow me to clean this setup up and have the tank going onto the bottom. Just like that. Now, I know you may be like, well, Chosen, don't you already have like power routed? So like, why are you replacing it? And I think as of right now, I just wanted to make things look a lot nicer. And I think in the future, this is going to make things a lot easier for me. So I don't have to worry about routing cables everywhere and pretty much destroying the build and trying to figure out where do I fit a cable that can't be, you know, facaded or something like that. At least the energy cable problem is now fixed. And so now I don't have to worry about routing all of these energy pipes everywhere. I can just simply worry about where is my refined storage cables going to go. Now, one of the things that I really wanted to get done today was also getting more redstone produced. It seems like redstone is going to be one of those things that we're going to need a lot of, and we can get it on the cheap. We don't have to have our redstone production come from the ingredients over here. We don't have to have this. We can actually get it from cinder flour, which is a lot cheaper. So I have 2 crushing wheels set up here, and what I want to do is get them tapped into this. It shouldn't be too hard to do. However, on this vertical, as we go to bring this up here, I'm going to have to keep in mind that this whole setup is going to need to connect into here. And so we're going to have to watch which direction this all gets sort of switched to. So right in here, if I have a rod sticking out, and I hook this in, let's see, I need this to be a normal gearbox. I hook in a normal gearbox, and I hook a gearbox into this. I don't think it's going to be spinning in the appropriate direction. No, as you can see, it's spinning the opposite direction, which means for this whole line, I'm just going to add another vertical gearbox here, and now everything is spinning the appropriate direction, and I can continue the line all the way over here, and this will also be spinning in the appropriate direction with a normal gearbox. There we go. And I just got to run that over here as well. Now on the top, I'm using exporters because we do have the netherrack and we're able to pull out because our refined storage is hooked to our EMC network. And so I'm pulling the netherrack out. That's getting turned into cinder flour, entering into this container. And then all I need is a importer, and that should send it into our system. And now from our system, what I want to do is I want to then, of course, this is going to need some speed upgrades. There's no way this is going to be able to keep up with the rate that this is going to be producing at. I want to take this line and I just want to send this stuff over to be washed. And that should start producing a bunch of redstone for us. So there we go. And just like that, it is producing redstone. And it's producing it, as you can see, at whatever rate that belt is flowing at. Well, we're going to end up with a little bit of a problem. This pretty much just nullifies the use of this line. But what I'm thinking is this smoking line, we could always convert this smoking line into the water, into the washing line, and I think it'd be more effective because I don't think I'm ever going to smoke anything in this game, to be fair. And again, with the detectors, we can definitely shut this off at any time when we reach over a certain amount anyways. I don't know if I actually want this shut off. Well, actually, yes, I do want that shut off because we also want to collect an abundance of the cinder flour because we're going to be using that later on. So this is going to say, hey, if we have over, let's say 16,000 redstone, to go ahead and emit a signal when above the amount, and then make sure this only works without a redstone signal. And there we go. So that should only export whenever it, right, we have it set up, only work without a redstone signal. And once it receives a redstone signal, it's going to stop sending cinder flour. And we need to do the same thing to the exporter up here. And we need to tell it basically to shut off as well. Once it has so much cinder flour made, I think. So we don't want cinder flour to overbuild, and we don't want to end up having more than 16,000 cinder flour as well. That is going to be way too much. So cinder flour, fill that up there, 16,000. Perfect. Emit a signal when above the amount, and only work without a redstone signal. Pretty straightforward. Now, I also want to get another setup going that produces gravel and also produces sand. So I think right here, I'm going to be producing gravel. And then with this setup, I'm going to produce gravel and then turn it into sand. So we have both of those being produced, because this whole setup down here is literally just producing the niter that we need, I believe. So yeah, this has its own niche purpose, and I need to maintain that. So I've kind of disconnected it from everything, and I'm going to need to run some logistical cables here. And if I use these, hopefully they don't connect. They do connect, but we'll have to just disconnect them here. Like that. And what I need to do is I need to pull all of the gravel from here, or pull all the sand from there. Yeah, sand. And I think I want to disconnect and tell this, hey, do not, make sure to blacklist, do not pull sand. And so in doing that, that should no longer pull the sand, and sand should get pulled out. Now, I might not be able to use the mechanism cables because these don't get filtered. Oh, that's, yeah, so I think this is where the pipes mod might actually come into play here yet again. Because the pipes mod is really good at this. So long as you're using a higher tier upgrade. I think it's the advanced one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the advanced one. This one right here should allow us to filter. And we'll just need the pipes wrench. Yeah, I know my inventory is a mess. But if I send this all the way over here, we should be able to get this all hooked up. And that'll be nice because we'll have two separate lines, right? We're going to need this. That way we can auto craft all kinds of stuff. That's sort of what I'm prepping for, is just like auto crafting of like all kinds of stuff. So here we go. Now on this particular line, I will filter. Let's see, I need to right click this. Why is it not letting me do that? Oh, this is pretty pipes. Wrong pipe wrench. Oh goodness, it's this one. This is the one I need. So shift right click, get that going, and then I'll put a advanced in here, and then I can add a filter, and I'll say sand, and I don't know if I can drag it in. I guess not. So I'll have to add this manually. Sand, submit, and now we have a filter in here for sand, and it should only pull sand out. And so we should be fine. I'm pretty sure that this, let's see, what is it set to? Regular. I think we're good. I don't think we're set to black. This is whitelist mode. Yeah, so we're under whitelist mode. So there we go. So it should be taking all the sand and sending it to this barrel once it's produced. Well, it's going somewhere. Yes, it is going here because it's being turned over here into this. Now, here's a problem. We can't just send sand to that, right? I don't know what I'm thinking here. We can't just send sand. We have to craft. We have to turn this sand into sandstone. So this is where I have a sequential fabricator, and then I will say this side over here will be input and the left will be output. That should be sent sand. And then I will just make a pattern like this and make sure it's sandstone. There it goes. Sandstone is then being produced. And then I should be able to just export all of this out to the side, right? And yeah, this sort of separates our refined storage network from everything else, because I'm going to need sand to be piped through the top. I want access to sand. So now the first one's going to be quite simple. It's just literally feeding it cobblestone, and then it's going to import. So that will immediately produce gravel for us. And then the other one is going to be the same process, except I'm going to use cables just like I did over here. I'm going to have to use cables in the output to feed up to the top, which is going to just basically send that gravel to make sand. And it should all be nice and put together, and we shouldn't have to worry about those two resources for a while. So, and just like this is the technical final product. So over here we have gravel. Gravel's being produced here, which is sending the gravel back into our main storage. So we should see an increase in gravel production overall. And since we've separated everything, and over here we should see sand production increasing. One from this down here, which takes the byproduct and turns it into sand as well. And then this just rawly producing sand. I am going to need speed upgrades, though, on most of these things. Now, there's still one more thing that is going to be necessary for crafting, and that's going to be getting into the refined storage, auto crafting, and just making it a lot easier for us to craft just anything we need from that mod. And so I need to get into crop growth automation, and that is going to be using thermal, actually, and particularly the phytogenic insulator. This is a pretty cool machine. And let's see, let's go ahead and make some fire charges here, because I'm going to make this a little simple. Ooh. Oh, our gunpowder automation. We ran out of gunpowder. Oh, that's fine. Let's see. We should be able to make this from our fire charges. Oh, that's right. We do craft fire charges. So there we go. We have some made. I should be able to make a couple of gears out of this and get one of these bad boys going. Now, this is going to be producing wheat for me. And I will need some upgrades for this. And we're going to want to make sure this is going about as fast as it possibly can. Now, we do have access to the resident integral components, which might be a good idea to make. Looks like I will need some diamonds for this. So it's a little bit of manual crafting, which is hopefully going to change soon. I now have it ready to go. I think the only other thing this is going to need is a constant supply of water. So there's our water coming from the same supply over here. Place that, get ourselves some power going to this bad boy, and we're almost ready to go. So seeds, we'll just simply we'll simply feed it wheat seeds. And what it's going to do is it's going to take that wheat seed, and so it's going to use it and send it into the output. What we need is to take the wheat seed and send the wheat seed right back and only take the product. So not too hard to do. Basically an importer, the same setups that we've been using for everything thus far. Importer and then an exporter for the seeds. I don't know if it duplicates the seeds. It might, so we might have to keep an eye on that. But yeah, we'll just feed it into the line of everything craziness over here. And everything should be fine. So we'll have an exporter that is going to feed it the seeds, importer that is going to collect the wheat. And then we need to take the wheat and we need to crush the wheat down, because this is how we're going to automate slime. So now that we're producing wheat, auto crafting for refined storage is just about complete. I have everything I'm going to need, I think, now to start making patterns for all of that. For example, wheat flour. Well, we know that it's going to at least produce one wheat, so I can go ahead and at least set that craft up and then just send that to one of my crafting processes over here, right? One of these simply to craft. Preferably one that's not used all the time. So for example, this is not used all the time, so I can put that one in there. And perfect. It should be ready to go, right? Yeah, I think so. Now, of course, it does need to be turned into dough. And, well, that's a simple process of just washing it, right? But right now we are washing and we are using it constantly. We're using our washer. So this is going to be a case of where I am going to convert that entire section that's just a smoker, which we won't ever use. Yeah, I'm going to be converting this into a washer. So here we go. This will be taking that wheat flour that's going to be on AutoCraft, and it's going to call this one into production. And so I just need to put the dough in here. That's going to generate the dough upon request. And then the final part is going to be lime dye. So we need to AutoCraft white dye, which is going to be a request from the bone meal. And then we're also going to need green dye, which is going to be an auto smelt that's going to happen from the cactus, which the auto smelt is going to happen very soon because we need to get a smelter going, which I guess in this case, we already do have a smelter, right? I totally forgot. We can definitely use this to smelt things, and that includes cactus, even though you'd think lava would just straight up annihilate it, just melt it to pieces. Not in this case. So let's go ahead and request some slime. Let's see. We will say, for some reason, oh, that's right. We need to have a crafting recipe for slime itself. So slime, and this is going to be our craft. Also, we need a lime dye craft. And I think that's it. Perfect. So we have 185. Let's request up 64. Looks like we have plenty. And everything should start doing its processing. We should start seeing, yes, all of the things and stuff going onto the belt and washing. Oh, that's right. We are going to have to change this into, let's grab one. We're going to have to change this filter here. And it's going to have to be, let's remove this. it's going to have to be can be washed attribute instead of a smoked attribute. And that should work. Perfect. And there you go. You see the slime balls are increasing, and that's exactly what we want. Oh, I almost have everything I need to fully automate all of the processes of refined storage now. I think when I said almost, I meant to say I technically do have everything ready to go. This is awesome. So we have all of the crafts. This is the basic crafts that need to happen. And then all of the smelting operations, those are actually going to be pretty easy to have done with our blaster. That's kind of the whole reason I set the thing up. So over here, we'll just put that into this crafter. There we go. We have all of our patterns. So now I can request, I don't know, like 20 of these, for example. And it should do all of the crafting. And then you can see they're going to start to show up here. And they're ready to go. If we put like, I think a stack upgrade here, it would try to place as many items as possible. But this is perfectly fine going at the rate that it's kind of going at. As you can see. Perfect. And it's already done. Now, one thing I almost forgot to do is put a detector on these to make sure to shut this down if it exceeds 16,000. I don't want a ton of sand going into my base refined storage and kind of wrecking everything. So these detectors are really playing a crucial role in this particular setup in the way that I'm automating things. Now, just like that, I have just about everything refined storage autocraft, and I want to now start working on some other parts of this. So over here, I have an induction smelter, and I think it'd be a great time to take this induction smelter and also get it hooked in to what is pretty much our automation area over here with all this crazy refined storageness that could eventually be covered up. That's the good part about all of this. But I want basically a crafter, specifically an iron crafter will work. And I want the iron crafter to place the items in upon request. And then we just need a importer that we can go ahead and autocraft. I need an importer, just like that, to pull the items out. And so we'll have an import and then an output. And now I can start making recipes. And then I also want a, let's see, I also want one of these bad boys on there so that way we can get the power transferred. There we go. I can now start automating all the alloys, for example, from thermal. And it's going to be pretty nice. We also are going to probably need a pulverizer. I can probably get a pulverizer put over here because some of the things are going to require pulverization. And then we're also going to need a press as well. All of these things are going to allow us, yeah, pulverizer and press. Yeah, that should be basically everything we need. So I think one of the first things I want to get automated when it comes to the thermal now is making sure we can get all the thermal components automated. And then we're also going to want the augments to make the machines faster. So a linkage amplifier would be nice. And then we also want an auxiliary reaction chamber. This is going to maximize the amount of power that we can get out of our dynamos and thus give us even more power than we're currently generating, which is going to be very nice. Now, the process of automating all of these is going to require me to go through here and be like, okay, I need invar and send it the basic crafting recipe and then place it in the crafter and so on and so forth. So this is going to be the case for all of this, including the presses. But this is how I would go about automating most of these machines. So with everything placed in, I now have the ability to request all of these for autocraft. And we shouldn't have really any problem because we're going to be constantly producing this material. Even these should be pretty easy. I don't know if I have the coils automated, but now we do. And this one as well. So everything is in. These all go into here. And bam. So now we should be able to upgrade just about every machine we have with this new resonant. For one, this is going to start producing a lot more power, but the auxiliary, let's go ahead and just try within thermal to craft at least 3 of these for right now, just to get one of our dynamos upgraded, just to basically show how powerful this can be. And then I'm also going to get one of these crafted. So I should be able to just craft, oh, with things moving around, it's really hard. There we go. As you can see, we got everything needed for it. We can get that going as well. I think it'll go a lot faster once we get our base machines upgraded because, of course, this is incredibly slow. It'll be a lot faster once we get these main machines upgraded. And then things are just going to fly from that point. So let's just go ahead and put this to the test. So now we have the upgrade. and we have our auxiliary reaction chambers. Notice we're only producing 80 RF per tick with our current hardened component in there. But if I put this in, now it's producing 160, but if I put this in, 640. Yeah. So now it's producing a lot more. And if need be, which I don't know how much we're going to have to increase this, but if this can't keep up with the lava gen down the road, once we get this bad boy upgraded as well, oh yeah, this thing is easily going to be able to keep up with them. And it's just crazy that each one of these that we have is going to be producing that amount. Like I should do the math and figure out exactly how much that would be running all together. So long as my calculations are correct, we have 16 of the dynamos here, 16 here, a total of 64 dynamos, and we're looking at 40,960 RF per tick being generated from all of these once they get fully upgraded. Yeah, that's a lot of power. So now that I have the ultimate power of automation underneath my belt, this mod pack is now going to form to my control. That is for sure. This pack is about to see the full wrath of Chosen very, very soon. Literally, the only thing holding me back at this point is the sheer brokenness of some features, such as I have no idea what this is doing because it's not placing anything. So I don't think my tree farms are working anymore, but I don't think we really need it. Yeah, I don't think we really need the tree farms honestly working at this point. But yeah, they are kind of broken, and it's not like they're not receiving it either. I even tried stopping this and to test out why this wasn't functioning properly. I honestly have no idea. Look, I can stop this. Like at any moment, I can put saplings in here, right? Saplings. Boop. It has now saplings to place. Still not placing saplings. It will empty them though, as if it was placing them. It's definitely broken. There's something going on with all of my farms. They're all doing it, which is kind of goofy. But regardless, we don't really need them. But like I was saying, so long as nothing incredibly bad breaks in this pack, we should be fine. Who needs those tree farms anyways? Am I right? When we can just use the power of science to grow our stuff, right? We can definitely set up tree farms that utilize this mechanic and just have an entire thing filled with them. So long as we can maintain the power requirements. And oh boy, with power requirements, things are going to start to get a little bit spicy as we are going to be diving into Mechanism, and power sort of explodes at Mechanism. Yeah, everybody knows about the gas burning generators, or if you don't, well, you're going to find out. And it is kind of a crazy setup. So I think next episode, we'll definitely start working more towards Mechanism and getting some of the odd and in Mechanism things set up that we're going to need. Now that we have thermal pretty much automated in the simple form, and we have refined storage automated, now it's time to think about automating the fantastic mod of Mechanism. So I hope you guys stick with me during that journey, and the best way to do that is by clicking that subscribe button and also ringing that notification bell so you guys can definitely get notified when I publish the next episode. And of course, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and it's now time to thank the supporter of today's video. And that huge thanks is going to go out to Liam42. Thank you so much for your amazing support, by the way, over on the Discord, becoming a Discord premium member and supporting in one of the best ways possible. I do appreciate you guys and all of my supporters. You guys are amazing. Of course, I'll see you in the next episode, and as always, thanks for watching. Bye.